Hey everybody, it's Mindy, and this is my WIP and Chat, my first WIP and Chat for our October event, the Breast Cancer Awareness event. So welcome, settle in. We're gonna chat, okay? I am working on my crystal canvas art, custom diamond painting. Amy did a great job helping me get this the way it needed to be. And I've got quite a bit done here. I'm cruising along. Bella Art to Nicole, Saban, Coverminders, Jenny, Oh Snap Crafters Cafe, Bella DP Pens. We're pinked out. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Okay. So as I work, we're going to chat a little bit. This event is being hosted by Angie, Angie's Diamond Painting Adventures. This was her idea, and she asked a couple of us to, join along on the journey with her and help bring awareness to breast cancer. So that is what we are doing this whole month, the month of October. To participate, what do you need to do? Paint pink diamond paintings. I've seen a few people have already done some smaller things. There's several things that have been completed already. There is a hashtag on Instagram, DPPink4BCA. That's the hashtag, DPPink4BCA. It will be linked below. So you can post on Instagram. Angie is keeping track of all the posts for the grand prize. And she also has started a Facebook group with Christopher Colassa. And I will link that below because that is another place that you may post your progress. Well, finish. There's a place for finishes. They're running it over there, or she's running it, pretty much like we have done the Chuck-along, where there is a dedicated post where you can post your finished pictures as a comment on that post, okay? And that will be like your official entry. So look for that. I will have that Facebook group linked below, okay? The other way that you can enter, there are prizes. We're all giving away prizes, and I haven't even told you who we all are yet. Angie, myself, Jenny, the Uncrafty Crafter, and Maritza, Kiss My Krafts. Those are your fearless leaders. All right. We will all be doing WIP and Chats. I believe Jenny is planning on doing one. She has 1 week where she's the giveaway person, and that will be done through her WIP and Chat. Maritza, I'm sure Maritza will do at least the one, and that will be her week. And my week is this week. And so I'm going to tell you about how you can enter for my prize, and I will show you the prize at the end of the video. All right. So there's that. And each of us will be giving away a prize in our designated week in our WIP and Chat. And then Angie has the special grand prize. Okay. I think she might be doing one weekly herself. Maybe, I'm not positive. But I think she might be doing one weekly giveaway herself. And then she has the grand prize. And that will be done during a live. She goes live on Saturday afternoons. And I don't know, she might be planning on having us there if we can make it. But yeah, that will be at the end of the month. Okay, I think it's the 30th because I believe the 30th is the Saturday. So, all right, that's the prize part, the participation part. And, as always, one of my rules, it's a tough rule, have fun. Have fun. Enjoy the process. Enjoy creating some beautiful diamond paintings, communicating with others, sharing, encouraging, liking, just have a good time through the process, okay? That's my main rule. Have a good time. It is all about crafting, it's not Shouldn't be deep. Shouldn't be difficult. Just have a good time. All right. So, as you know, the event is for breast cancer awareness. October is the month of breast cancer awareness. Think pink and all that stuff, right? Reminders to go get your mammograms, get those squishes in there, you know, because they save lives. So make sure you do that. And let's talk. Let's talk. This is probably not my typical fun, you know, laugh, giggle, silly story kind of whip and chat, but it's an important whip and chat. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to do more than one whip and chat, clearly. I do a whip and chat every week. So, I mean, that will continue. I don't know if they will all be breast cancer related or not, but I will continue to have my weekly whip and chats. But for this one, I thought I would start out with my history, my story, and why this is so important in my life. Cancer has touched, I mean, almost everyone I know. I can't think of anybody that can't tell you of someone they know that's had cancer, battled it, won, or died from it. You know, it is one of those things. It affects pretty much everyone in one way or another. Some, you know, more closely than others. So here's my story. Let me tell you my story. Let's start with my grandma, my maternal grandmother. She was the sweetest lady in the world, and she was wonderful to me. She was very influential in my life. I was the oldest grandchild. Therefore, I got to spend a lot of time with my grandmother. Someone's at my door. I will be right back. All right, let me continue. That was the Schwann's man. I have ice cream now. Anyhow, I know I was talking about my grandma. Okay, my grandma. I was blessed to have her in my life. Being the oldest grandchild, actually, I got to spend a lot of time with her and help her later in life. And she taught me many things. I mean, she was wonderful. I like to say that I am probably a lot like my grandma in many ways. Her nature, her giving, her kind spirit. I like to think that I, you know, take after my grandma. So, anyhow, grandma's story. My grandmother had breast cancer. And at the time, it was radical mastectomy, and that was pretty much all that they did. So surgery took care of that. I don't remember her ever having to have chemo or anything like that, because they just cut everything right out. It wasn't even a good job. It was pretty ugly looking, you know. It was about 13 years later, Grandma had breast cancer in the other breast. And again, radical mastectomy. Took care of that. You know, my grandma was so good-natured about the whole thing. She would make fun of her new bra and her falsies that were in her bra. And I remember my niece borrowing said bra and falsies at one point to dress up as Dolly Parton at one point. She was just good about it. You know, I don't remember her complaining or anything. She was just always upbeat and good-natured. Fast forward to years later when my grandma suffered a few strokes and eventually needed to be moved to a nursing home. She was there for many years in the nursing home. And one day my mom got a call that something wasn't right with grandma. And at that point found out that she was filled with ovarian cancer. Just, you know, wow. And that's what my grandmother died of. It wasn't much longer after that diagnosis that, you know, she was gone. So 2 breast cancers, 1 ovarian cancer. Ovarian cancer is what eventually took her life. All right. So now let's move on to her children. My aunt died of pancreatic cancer on Thanksgiving one year. Yeah, we were all headed to their house to have Thanksgiving, and she had died of pancreatic cancer that morning. Okay. My uncle, her son, had prostate cancer, right? So that is what took his life, was prostate cancer. So my aunt, my uncle, my grandma, then my mom. All right. My mom had breast cancer. She was in her early to mid 60s, I believe, when she was diagnosed. And she did chemo and I believe radiation and the whole 9 yards. Now we're at the lumpectomy stage. Let's do lumpectomy and chemo, radiation, and, you know, yeah. So she did all that. She was again just a real trooper about it. She never really complained. I don't remember. I think she even went to most of her chemos just by herself, and I don't know, it just didn't seem to be a prominent, you know, it just happened. It just happened, and she took care of it. Like, you know, you take care of a cold or something. I don't know. So after that, my sister has the big announcement that she has breast cancer. Okay. My sister, again, she did lumpectomy, chemo, radiation. And, you know, moved on to the recovery phase, remission, you know, all of that stuff, which is wonderful. My mom's breast cancer, you know, she was over that. It was gone. It was not a thing anymore. At some point, though, after my mom's diagnosis, and doctors examining the family history, it was recommended, because now genetic testing is a thing. It hadn't been before, but it was recommended that my mom go through genetic testing, and she did, and discovered that she was BRCA positive, had BRCA mutation. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. So when she tested positive for that, I know that I went and got tested. I don't believe my sister did, and I'm not sure why. I know that my sister was tested when she was diagnosed with cancer and going through treatments. She did go through the genetic testing at that point, but I don't think she did right after my mom's diagnosis. I did, but I don't believe that she did at that time. So anyhow, results, my mom, like I said, positive for the mutation. Me, positive for the mutation. My sister, when she was tested negative for the mutation. So, you know, it's not a guarantee, that's for sure. It's not a, you know, it doesn't mean you won't get cancer, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're doomed to have cancer when you have the mutation. And we'll talk a lot about that in a minute, okay? A few years ago, my cousin, same side of the family, maternal side of the family, my cousin was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she opted to have double mastectomy with reconstructive surgery. I don't believe she went through any chemo radiation because, they cut everything out, If you cut it out and you don't find any cancer left, it wasn't in lymph nodes, you have good margins, all of that stuff, there was no reason for her to have chemo and radiation. So it was several surgeries because, first of all, you have the mastectomy, then you'll have reconstruction, and I believe there was a couple different things she had to go through for that. But that was the route that she took, and I think it worked out well for her, and I think she's healthy and moving forward with her life at this point. She was tested for the BRCA gene, and she was positive. Okay, so you see where this is going. My family definitely has a propensity to carry a BRCA gene mutation. Now, there are members of my family who call it the bad gene, and I can't bring myself to call it that. I won't call it that. It's not a bad gene. It's a mutated gene, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But that's the basic history of where I come from. My mom has thought back to aunts in the family, like my grandmother's sisters and whatnot, who had cancers of the same nature. And even though genetic testing wasn't available to them, it's highly likely that the BRCA gene was positive in them as well. It's just highly likely. So it's definitely a genetic thing that happens, and we'll talk about that too. Okay? Before I talk about BRCA gene specifically, because I know that there's people out there that are confused about that, I brought up an article from the Mayo Clinic so I could be very thorough and sound educated. So, what is cancer? What is cancer? We hear that term all the time, and a lot of people may not understand exactly what cancer is, what it does, what the problem is, okay? Oh, dog's gonna bark at something. Tifa, shh. There's probably a leaf blowing across the yard again. That's the second time. Second time today she's barked like that. And seriously, now the Amazon delivery guy's gonna come. Well, at least he doesn't need my attention. He can just drop my stuff off at the front door. Really? Wow. I'm never get interrupted during WIP and chat, and now it's been, oh my gosh. Okay. Anyhow, cancer is what? Cancer is the development of abnormal cells that divide uncontrollably, and they have the ability to infiltrate and destroy normal body tissue. Cancer often has the ability to spread throughout your body. It is the second leading cause of death in the world. Survival rates are improving, though, for many cancers, thanks to improvements in screening, treatment, and prevention. So basically, your cells rejuvenate all the time, You make new skin cells, you make all your cells. They have to be regenerated, make new ones, all of that throughout your whole life. It's not like you come with a set number of cells and that's it. You never get any more. Some die, some slough off, like in your skin, and you have to make new ones and things like that. So cancer basically is when those cells decide to mutate and grow rapidly in ways that they shouldn't. And when they do that, then they tend to take over other systems in your body and make those not work appropriately. Okay? So that is the basic gist of what cancer does. And that's how cancer works. So now let's go back to the BRCA gene. People say, "Ooh, you have the BRCA gene." Yes, and so do you, and you, and you, and you. You all have it. Everyone has the BRCA gene. It's not, I mean, we all have it. The thing is, if you have a BRCA positive, that means your BRCA gene is mutated in some way. The BRCA gene, and this is not from the Mayo Clinic, this is just from what I know, what I've learned. The BRCA gene is a gene that helps to fight those cancer developments. There is a little bit in here about that. Let me find that real quick. Gene mutations, because that's what we have. The BRCA gene is responsible for fighting cancer. Okay? It's what it does. It inhibits cancer from developing. It inhibits those cells from dividing and growing out of control. It tells it, no, don't do that. Okay? So if you have a mutation, a mutation can tell the cell to grow and divide more rapidly. And so more cells will have that mutation. It fails to stop the uncontrolled growth. Like a normal cell knows when to stop growing so that you have just the right number of the cell. But cancer cells lose those controls. There are such things as called tumor suppressor genes. That is your BRCA gene. It's not the only one, but that is one that we talk about a lot. And that tells your cells when to stop growing. A mutation in a tumor suppressor gene allows the cancer cells to continue growing and accumulating. And there may make mistakes when it repairs your DNA errors. So if you have an error in your DNA, the repair genes look for those and repair them, but a mutation means that the errors don't get corrected and the cells then become cancerous. Okay? So that's what happens. There are mutations that you are born with, and there are mutations that occur after birth. The BRCA mutation is one that you are born with. It is hereditary, and it is passed on, through your family. Other mutations occur after birth, like things that can cause mutating genes are smoking, radiation, viruses, cancer-causing chemicals, carcinogens, obesity, hormones, chronic inflammation, lack of exercise. Gene mutations will occur frequently during your normal cell growth. However, cells contain a mechanism that recognizes when there's a mistake and it repairs it. However, sometimes that mistake is missed. And that's what causes the cells to continue to mutate and grow in a way they're not supposed to. So if your skin cell is supposed to do a certain thing and have a certain number of cells, something in your body says, stop, that's it, you're good. And if there's a miscommunication there, it doesn't stop. And it continues to grow and do things it's not supposed to do. BRCA tells our body to stop doing that, okay? Here's the interesting thing I've learned about BRCA. When I was first tested, they said that normally when there is a BRCA gene mutation, it means there's like a missing piece of that gene. There's missing communication, so your body is just confused. It doesn't understand its job and what it's supposed to do, so it doesn't do it properly. However, my mother and I, and I don't know about my cousin for sure. I don't know the details of her genetic testing. But my mother and I in particular, we don't have a missing piece of our genes. No. We have an extra copy. your DNA and all that, it's two different, you have your father and your mother's side, and there's two different pieces that go together. Well, in our gene, this particular gene, we have an extra copy. I don't know why. It was very rare and unique at the time, because it's been several years now, but it still confuses your body, and your body doesn't know what it's trying to say or what it's trying to do. So it's like not enough information or too much information still cause the same problem. Your body doesn't know that it's supposed to stop making certain cells. There's no filter there. Okay? So that is what the BRCA gene does. That's how it works. That's what a mutation does or causes. All right? I didn't bring up the totals, the percentages and things like that on BRCA gene and cancers. Maybe I'll do that next time. But being BRCA positive or mutated increases the risk of certain cancers greatly. Does not mean people will necessarily get it. It just increases your risk factor exponentially. I think it's something like 85%, but I will look that up for next time and I will let you know. So here's my sister who, was diagnosed, treated for breast cancer, and tested negative for any mutation. I have tested positive, and to this day, knock on wood, have not, had an issue with breast cancer. I want to keep it that way. And we'll talk about that as well. But it does increase our risks greatly. Now, the BRCA gene does not only affect breast cancer. That's not the only cancer that we speak of for people who have a BRCA gene mutation. Breast cancer, for sure, men and women, because it can be the men as well. And this gene can be passed on to the men, the males in the family. Prostate cancer, my uncle. Pancreatic cancer, my aunt. Ovarian cancer, my grandmother. Right? So those are the main cancers that are affected by a BRCA gene mutation. It's all throughout my family, right? All throughout my family. Okay. What was the thought I just had? Oh, the BRCA gene is transferred, parent to child, if your parent does not have it. So in the case of my sister, who tested negative, no mutation, there is no way for her to pass that on to her daughter. She doesn't have it. She can't pass it down, right? I believe my niece is still going to be tested just as a safety measure, just to make sure, there's always that chance. I know that it has been recommended that my sister have hers redone. I don't know that she has, but my niece has decided that she wants to just be tested anyhow, just to make sure. Peace of mind for her, and moving forward, health decisions and choices that she might make in the future. My brother has not been tested. Should be, yes. Since you have a parent that's positive for it, yes, you should be tested. My uncle did die of prostate cancer, so he should be tested. Since I test positive, should my children be tested? Absolutely. Do we talk about that? Yes, we've talked about that. They're getting to that age when it is more important. So I think that conversation will happen again. Insurance covering the test. It used to be quite expensive. It has gotten a little less expensive. It used to be there was only one lab in the entire country. that could test that. I think that has changed, therefore making it a little more financially feasible for people. And it's definitely a conversation I will have with my children. I mean, we have already, but it's definitely one that we'll have again, as far as them being tested. Okay. So, yeah, there's the history. There's the history. Some people in my family, like the rest of my cousins, some have chosen to have the genetics test done. I know that one, at first anyhow, said no, she didn't want to be tested because she felt like it was just a death sentence and she didn't want to know. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, it's not like that. It's something that if you know about it, there are things you can do to hopefully avoid it. It is not a positive. It is not a guarantee that you will develop one of these cancers if you have that mutated gene. There are things you can do proactively. Okay? So, for example, in my case, being positive for the mutation, I get twice a year exams. My family physician, my general care physician, will do an exam once a year. And I have an oncologist. Oncologists, as you know, are the doctors that treat cancers. Well, I don't have cancer, haven't had it. I'm doing everything I can do to not have it. But I see an oncologist once a year. All right. The oncologist will look at my mammogram and do a breast exam and just kind of do a general check-in to make sure everything's okay. Then my general physician will do that on the opposite 6 months. So every 6 months, somebody's checking out the girls. That's just all there is to it. The other thing that I did do is I took tamoxifen, which is a cancer inhibitor. I took that for 5 years to help tell my body. What tamoxifen does is helps to tell your body not to develop cancer. It's doing what the BRCA gene should do when it doesn't. So I took tamoxifen for 5 years. And the other thing I did, well, those ovaries, they had to go. If your ovaries are going to try to kill you at some point and you don't need them, they got to go. So it was kind of funny. My mom and I discovered at some point that we're both scheduled to have our surgery, and it was the same day, and we did not know that. So here my mom and I are, we're both at the hospital getting ready to have our lady parts, removed so that they would not try to kill us. And we were there at the same time. Kind of ironic. So those are the things that I do proactively. The double checkups, of course, my mammogram every year, the tamoxifen, ovaries gone. So there's that. The other thing, there is one more thing that you can do proactively if you, feel the need or feel that that's the route for you, and that is mastectomy. If you don't have breasts, they can't get cancer, right? Has that been provided as an option? It has. The first gynecologist, the first, oh gosh, my mind just went blank. Oncologist, the first oncologist that I had for a few years said that is an option. She presented that as an option. Yep, just have them removed and reconstructed. And she said that she would send me to University of Michigan because they make beautiful breasts there. So that's always in the back of my mind. If I choose to do that, U of M will create some new beautiful breasts for me if I chose to do that. My cousin, once she was diagnosed with cancer, chose that route. And I've kind of thought that was a smart thing. There are other people. Most famous of all, of course, was Angelina Jolie, who has the BRCA mutation and chose to have the mastectomy and reconstruction. So, you know, it's always in the back of my mind that, you know, that could very well be a route I would take if presented with that issue at some point. You know, after 60 some years, you know, a nice new set might not be too bad, but, you know, and you have to, I know I'm laughing about it, but you have to look at it in as positive a light as possible, you know? If you look at it as all doom and gloom, you know, yeah. All right. I'm going to do some more talk about prevention and things like that in the next video. But since this one is about history, my past, my family, there's one more cancer I need to talk about. My mom, who did everything they suggested, took the tamoxifen, had the ovaries out, did everything she could. Like 15 years after her breast cancer, was diagnosed with something called primary peritoneal cancer. It's basically a cancer in your abdomen. It attaches to the outside of all of your organs. There is something in your body called an omentum, which they also call it a fat flab, that is in front of your organs, and it kind of is a protective barrier. It was all in that. The cancer was all in there. The chances of developing this cancer after everything that she did are between 1% and 5% of people. And yet my mom fell into that 1% to 5% of people. She just now calls it her ovarian cancer. And this is hard to understand, but it's an ovarian type cancer because the cells in your abdomen, if you think about it, I mean, your ovaries are in your abdomen, they're in there somewhere. And these cells that this cancer presents are the same exact type of cells that your ovaries are made up of. All right. So it really is an ovarian cancer. They treat it like an ovarian cancer. Ovarian cancer is one of the hardest to detect. It is one of the most difficult to cure or get rid of. And that has proven to be the case. It took a while to detect it with her. She was having digestion issues, and that's what ended her up in the hospital where they did tests, and that's how they found it. So surgery, well, first it was chemo, lots of chemo, then surgery to remove the omentum, appendix, and basically went in and did a complete scan of everything in her abdomen, took out organs, cleaned them off, found anything that looked suspicious, got rid of it. You know, we call it the search and destroy mission. The surgeon went in and just hunted for anything that looked irregular and got rid of it. Then it was more chemo. And at this point, you know, my mom is 80 years old at this point, maybe 81. And, you know, it was chemo beforehand, surgery, more chemo. She was a trooper. She did everything that she could do. I know that they did not finish the rounds of chemo after surgery that they wanted to, but it just got to the point where she couldn't handle the chemos anymore. And they were like, we have done so much and we're just going to we're going to stop. We're going to call it here. continued blood tests. There's a blood test you can do that monitors your, like there's a cancer number. That's the only thing I can call it, is a cancer number. She calls it the cancer marker number. And they watch that, and it's been going up and going up. But she had a period where everything was pretty normalized. Everything was pretty, you know, it looked good. It looked good. And then one time her blood test came back and that number was higher. And that indicated that the cancer was growing again. So she went on something that they've called a maintenance chemotherapy, which is just going to, you know, beat it back. Just beat it back and say, no, no, stay away, stay away. Getting rid of it completely. At this point, she has been told that, you know, that's just probably not going to happen. She has had more chemo than, you know, I can even shake a stick at, I think. Changed her life? Absolutely. Her quality of life is not what it used to be. Tired, run down all the time. But she's still fighting, not giving up. Most recently, she was told that they won't do any more chemo because her body is just not responding to it. And, well, it's not responding in a positive way. It's just responding in a negative way, and it's taking a toll on her, just too big of a toll. So her doctor said no more chemo. So, of course, my mom is distraught, and, oh, my gosh, what does this mean? Am I done? Is that it? What do I do now? Just sit around and wait to die? He was like, no, we have some other options. So she is now taking a drug, which is called a PARP inhibitor. It's basically designed to go in and try to do some repair work to that gene that's making a problem and try to get communication better, and make it say, no, stop developing those genes. Stop letting these genes mutate and grow. So that's what she's doing now. I was shocked. I mean, if you've ever seen bills from chemo and how much those things cost, it's mind-boggling how much a round of chemotherapy costs. Same is true with this medication. I was like, whoa, wow. And she's had to they found outside funding for her to help cover the cost of it. And I will say that she was just blessed with a year of the medication covered through an outside source. So she has it covered for 1 year. I believe she knows this isn't going to be cured. She's not ready to go. She's going to keep fighting for all she's worth. She just wants to live a little longer, you know? So that's what we're hoping for. Keep it at bay, just longer. All right, I don't talk about this a lot, and this is why. So it's difficult, right? Okay. That's my history. That's where I come from. That's my background. So now you understand why this is so important. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to gather up the prize, and I'll show you the prize, and then we'll talk about what you need to do to be eligible for the prize. All right. I'll be back in just a second. All right. So here is my package of goodies for the winner for the week. All right. Do you want to see what you can win? I know you do. I know you do. All right. Let's start with the small stuff. Let's start with the small things. Okay. I just unboxed this actually, and I had to do this video first before I could do this. Wait, I had to do this video before I could do this video. Does that make sense? So this is from Bella Art to Nicole. I had contacted Nicole and asked if they could possibly do something or were considering doing anything for October for breast cancer. And they made these ribbons. I believe you can go get these in multiple colors for, you know, the different awareness events, or, you know, they're cool. What they do is they embed their magnet right into the printing of this. So it's in there. You don't even see it. I mean, you can kind of tell it's there. Now you just need the one magnet on the back like that. I love how they do that. That is pretty nifty. So thank you. If you guys have not checked out Bella Art to Nicole, you should do so and see if there's something pink you want, or, you know, some other color. But thank you for doing that for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All right. Here is another cover minder I bought a while back, and I got this from Saban. Couldn't resist that one. I'm so tempted to keep this one, but I got it for the giveaway, so let's give it away, okay? It's so blingy and so pretty. I love it. So you have the 2 ribbon cover minders, and then I just got these from Tig's Trays. These are cool. This is called Unicorn, and look at the pink in that. Isn't that cool? So we got stuff from all over the place. I've had to learn how to open these. They're a little tricky to open. You just kind of get a little beastie with it. Not too beastie, but just, you know, it is a snug. See, I can't get this side off. Come on. There we go. Snug fit. All right. And it just kind of pops off like that. And that is on there. Look at that. How pretty is that, right? How pretty. Okay. And then when you put it back on, you need to make sure you slide it right up in there. And then it snaps right in. And your drills, got to get it all the way up. And your drills are not going anywhere. Come on. when you close that up. Very nice. Nice spout. Okay. So you get a tray, some cover minders. This, oh my gosh, I like this. I'm going to need to place another order. This is called Cosmic Pens, and I have a pen for you. It's a polymer clay pen, and it is one of the smoothest polymer clay pens I've ever felt. They're fantastic. I placed an order a while back, and I've given them all away. I haven't even kept one for myself. That has a big old multiplacer on the end of it, whatever it is, a 15. Yeah, it's a 15. Big old multiplacer and a single placer. So smooth, and these are just beautiful. Like I said, I'm going to need to order some more. All right. I didn't have like a solid pink one, but all right, you know. Okay, so there's the little goodies. Hang on, let's move you guys over here. And then I'm going to put this in there as well because, you know, it's pink. And who doesn't want a beautiful pink lady? There you go. Isn't she pretty? I have the drills attached up here. I've taken to stapling them on here so they don't get lost. Why am I giving this away to somebody? I don't know. She's an angel and she's with hummingbirds. Why am I doing that? I don't know. That is totally like my mother. Well, not yet. My mom's not an angel yet. I mean, she's an angel on earth. She's not a... You know what I'm saying. Anyhow, but hummingbirds are her thing. Oh, boy. I'll just get it again. That's what I'll do. Okay. So that is your prize package. And thank you for listening. I know that it was a little difficult maybe, but informative. And, you know, there's that. Okay. That's it, you guys. How do you win? Comment on my video. Just comment. You guys do a great job of commenting. Nothing specific is needed. Okay. And I'll announce who won next week in my WIP and chat. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. I know you'll have wonderful comments. You're always so kind, caring, and considerate. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.